The Field of Boliauns by T. Crawford Croker.
Tom Fitzpatrick was the eldest son of a comfortable farmer who lived at Ballincollig. Tom had just turned of 29 when he met the following adventure, and was as clever, clean, tight, good-looking a boy as any in the whole county Cork. One fine day in harvest, it was indeed Lady Day in harvest, that everybody knows to be one of the greatest holidays in the year. Tom was taking a ramble through the ground, and went sauntering along the sunny side of a hedge, thinking in himself, where would be the great harm of people, instead of idling and going about doing nothing at all, who to shake out the hay, and bind and stoke the oats that was lying on the ledge, especially as the weather had been rather broken of late. He, all of a sudden, heard a clacking sort of noise, and a little before him in the hedge. "Dear me," says Tom, "but isn't it surprising to hear the stone chatter singing so late in the season?" So Tom stole on, going on the tops of his toes to try if he could get a sight of what was making the noise, to see if he was right in his guess. The noise stopped, but as Tom looked sharply through the bushes, what should he see in a nook of the hedge but a brown pitcher that might hold about 1.5 gallons of liquor, and by a little weeny-deeny bit of an old man, with a little motty of a cocked hat stuck upon the top of his head, and a deeshy-doshy leather apron hanging before him, pulled out a little wooden stool, and stood up upon it, and dipped a little piggin into the pitcher, and took out the full of it, and put it beside the stool, and then sat down under the pitcher, and began to work at putting a heel-piece on a bit of a brogue, just fitting for himself. "Well, by the powers," said Tom to himself, "I've often heard tell of the Leprechaun, and to tell God's truth, I never rightly believed in them, but here's one of them in real earnest. If I go knowingly to work, I'm a made man. They say a body must never take their eyes off of them, or they'll escape." Tom now stole on a little farther, with his eye fixed on the little man, just as a cat does with a mouse, or, as we read in books, the rattlesnake does with the birds he wants to enchant. So when he got up quite close to him, "God bless your work, neighbor," said Tom. The little man raised up his head and "Thank you kindly," he said. "I wonder you'd be working on the holiday," said Tom. "That's my own business, not yours," was the reply. "Well, maybe you'd be civil enough to tell us what you've got in the pitcher there," said Tom. "That I will, with pleasure," said he. "It's good beer." "Beer!" said Tom. "Thunder and fire, where did you get it?" "Where did I get it, is it? Why, I made it. And what do you think I made it of?" "Devil a one of me knows," said Tom, "but of malt, I suppose. What else?" "There you're out. I made it of heath." "Of heath!" said Tom, bursting out laughing. "Sure you don't think me to be such a fool as to believe that?" "Do as you please," said he, "but what I tell you is the truth. Did you never hear tell of the Danes?" "And that I did," said Tom. "Weren't them the fellows we gave such a licking when they thought to take Limerick from us?" "Hem!" said the little man dryly. "Is that all you know about the matter?" "Well, what about them Danes?" said Tom. "Well, all about them there is that when they were here, they taught us to make beer out of the heath, and the secret's in my family ever since." "Will you give a body a taste of your beer?" said Tom. "I'll tell you what it is, young man, it would be fitter for you to be looking after your father's property than to be bothering decent, quiet people with your foolish questions. There now, while you're idling away your time here, there's the cows have broke into the oats and are knocking the corn all about." Tom was so taken by surprise with this that he was just on the very point of turning round, when he recollected himself, so, afraid that the like might happen again, he made a grab at the Leprechaun, and caught him up in his hand, but in his hurry he overset the pitcher, and spilled all the beer, so that he could not get a taste of it to tell what sort it was. He then swore what he would not do to him if he did not show him where his money was. Tom looked so wicked and so bloody-minded that the little man was quite frightened. So, says he, "Come along with me a couple of fields off, and I'll show you a crock of gold." So they went, and Tom held the cluricane fast in his hand, and never took his eyes from off him, though they had to cross hedges and ditches and a crooked bit of bog, for the cluricane seemed, out of pure mischief, to pick out the hardest and most contrary way, till at last they came to a field full of buoys, ragweed, and the cluricane pointed to a big bullion, and says he, "Dig under the bullion, and you'll get that great crock of all full of guineas." Tom, in his hurry, had never minded the bringing of a spade with him, so he thought to run home and fetch one, and that he might know the place again, he took off one of his red garters and tied it round the bullion. "I suppose," said the cluricane very civilly, "you've no farther occasion for me?" "No," says Tom. "You may go away now, if you please, and God speed you, and may good luck attend you wherever you go." "Well, good-bye to you, Tom Fitzpatrick," said the cluricane, "and much good may do you with what you'll get." So Tom ran for the dear life till he came home and got a spade, and then away with him as hard as he could go, back to the field of bullions. But when he got there, lo and behold, not a bullion in the field but had a red garter, the very identical model of his own, tied about it, and as to digging up the whole field, that was all nonsense, for there was more than 40 good Irish acres in it. So Tom came home again with his spade on his shoulder, a little cooler than he went, and many's the hearty curse he gave to the cluricane every time he thought of the neat turn he had served him.